So, my friend, today we are going to understand how to apply the power of discernment in daily life. Why? When we apply this discernment in daily life, we start working on the mind 100%. The mind never becomes crazy. It never enters into any kind of a stress and suffering because the wisdom, the knowledge takes over the mind completely. And that happens in daily life. That is neighbor's house, and this is my house. This is my house. We apply viveka. When we drive home, we definitely land up at home. I have an urge, I go to restroom. I have an urge to take a cup of tea, I go to the kitchen. You see that? Normally, we apply this discernment in our daily life, my friend. But when it comes to personal life, relationship, when it comes to our past, future, worries, anxiety, I'm not able to apply this viveka in my life. And that causes the sorrow and the suffering. But there is a take in it. We have to understand that naturally we apply viveka, discernment in our daily life. Our intellect say, oh, let us go to the kitchen, to the rest, to the bedroom, talk to this guy. And normally we apply the viveka in the outer world. But when it comes to the inner world of my feeling, my emotions, my relationship, my duality and my conflict, I fail to apply this viveka, and ultimately I have fear, I have insecurities, I have sorrow and suffering. Uh, Understand, my friend, that this viveka, discernment, it is the power of the intellect, it is the capacity, it is a value, and it is always available to us. Whether we appreciate it, whether we use it or apply it or not, it is always available to every human being. But it has to be applied consciously from within. Even now, not in ancient India, the washerman, cleaners, huh? The washerman used to collect the clothes from the different houses and they load it on the donkey and they used to go to the river. They are used to wash the clothes, dry it there in the sun, and return in the evening and send their respective clothes to the houses. So this washerman has five donkeys. Five donkeys. Let me put it here. Not. And he used to tie donkeys with a rope onto the tree. So one day he collected all the clothes from different houses. So when he reached to the river, he found that he has only four ropes. He can tie only the four donkeys. The fifth one And it is difficult, otherwise, this donkey will enter into the forest and will be lost. A wise man was passing by when the washerman was disturbed. He said, "No worries. What you do? What should I do then?" The wise man said, "No worries. I'll let the fifth donkey see you, and you go to a near a tree." So he went near the tree, and he acted as if he is tying the rope with a tree. Donkey was seeing it. So Waterman said, "What do you mean?" "Oh, done. You need not to worry. The donkey has seen that you tied him, but there is no rope. That is the secret." And the donkey didn't move. So he washed all the clothes, dried them, loaded them on the donkeys. He untied the four donkeys. He had the rope. He untied it. They were ready. But now he asked the fifth donkey to stand up. He was not ready to move. So wise man was again passing in the evening, returning to his home, and he ran to the wise man. He said, "The donkey is not standing because you tied, but there is no rope. No, you have to act as if you are untying when he is looking at you." So the donkey was seeing him, and he untied mentally, played, acted, and the donkey stood up. That is the nature of our mind. We talk of attachment, detachment, we talk of craving. This tying and untying should happen in the intellect. In reality, there is no attachment. But I think of an attachment, so attachment comes and then it causes the worries, and then I fall into anxiety. What I'm doing, I'm just showing you. You claim that you are tied with it, and I help you reclaim that you are already untied. You are already unattached. That is the power of discernment in our daily life. When we do not live in awareness, means lack of awareness. Lack of awareness means the mind is running into the past, projecting into the future. Mind is seeking the happiness in the object outside, in the people outside. That is what is happening. We are always free. We are understanding the journey of life and applying Viveka in our daily life. When you practice meditation, go deeper into the meditation, that intellect is awakened to the knowledge of the real self. And that real self knows that we are unattached all the time. It is the mind that acts like a donkey, feels tied. In reality, it is not tied. We can understand this power of discernment. We lose this power of discernment when the desire takes over. What is that desire? Seeking happiness in object of the world, people of the. Oh, I am seeking happiness from my son, from my brother, from my sister, from a person, from a friend. So the mind starts running outside. And that results into lack of awareness of reality. Lack of awareness of reality causes ego. Ego leads to attachment and detachment, and then there is always mind is always more or less upset, anxious. You wake up in the morning, you have drunk maybe 5 cups of tea and coffee, the mind is still running. How can you pacify those thoughts which has an element of attachment and detachment by even 5 or 10 cups of coffee? Lack of awareness. A perfect example we can understand by a simple story. Man was sitting in his house with his wife drinking vodka. First peg, second peg, third peg, fourth, and now the fifth. After the fifth peg, he is totally intoxicated. Intoxication means the lack of awareness. So he looked at his wife and said, "Beautiful women, oh, beautiful women, now it is my time to go back to my home." He was sitting in his home. Beautiful women said, "I'm your wife." "No, no, no, I know that you are acting, so take me to my home. Can you help me to reach my home?" He is already sitting in his home. Can I relax and calm down when the peace is already within me? Happiness is within me, wisdom is within me. This is what happens to majority of the people because the mind is constantly running outside, and that causes the lack of awareness of reality. When we ask the mind to be like a mirror, you are in front of a mirror. You are not in front of a mirror. The mirror is blank. It does not carry any impression of the past image. The mirror does not tell me anything about the past, neither, nor it tells me anything about the future. Mirror, mind. Mirror, mind. So it's a mirror inside. You see me, I disappear, the mind returns, the mirror returns to its original state. Even it remains in the original state, it remains unattached. So, because it remains unattached, there is no craving, there is no anxiety, there is no duality, there is no conflict at all. When the mind is acting like a mirror, we are free from the fear, insecurity, anxiety, sorrow, suffering. We are understanding the journey of the life day to day. Now the time has come. You continue doing the meditation practice morning, evening, and whenever you have a time. But now the time has come. Allow that meditation to blossom day from moment to moment. That is why we are applying discernment or viveka in our daily life so that we experience freedom, we experience calm and the peace all the time. Viveka means cognitive ability and capacity. It's a cognition. Do you know me? Yes. How do you know me? Through cognition, which we say, I recognize you. Cognition, recognition. So, how do I recognize? From here, what I have to do to recognize? Nothing. Simply the intellect becomes aware and it perceives, it recognizes, and it sees. So, this discernment and cognitive ability in Eastern wisdom is nothing but understanding and clarity. We, all human beings, are intelligent because they can endowed with the intellect. So, when we have an intellect, we should also have an understanding and ability. But what happens due to the mind and its impulsive nature? The intellect goes into the background. Who puts the intellect into background? Me. Why? I'm craving, I'm attached, I have fear, I have insecurity, but the intellect is available. I don't use the intellect. So I don't have the clarity. So when I don't have the clarity, then I have a confusion. So when I have a confusion, then there is a conflict. And when there is a conflict, the mind takes over. And when the mind takes over, we are gone. I want you to live 24 by 7, 365 days in that state of discernment, in that state of the wisdom. We are helping together so that the intellect is available all the time. So, first understand what is this clarity. I gave you an example: neighbor's house, my house, clarity. Can you guess what do you mean by clarity and understanding? I have an urge to take a cup of tea, so I go to the kitchen. Clarity. I don't land up in restroom. I go to the kitchen. Sometimes it happens, when the mind is gone somewhere, we want to go to the kitchen, we land up in the restaurant. I think you might have experienced. Then you retrieve your steps, you instantly remember clarity. The moment the clarity comes, your action, you have a right action in your life. Sometime you have the glasses on your eyes and you sense a lack of awareness. Oh, where are my glasses? Oh no, it's here. What is this clarity? So, one way to understand this clarity is the intellect classifies, filters out what is not required. Neighbor's house, not required. My house. I have to drink a cup of tea, so I land up in the kitchen, not in the bedroom, not in living room, not in restroom. Filtering. Filtering what is not required. Is stress required in your life? Is anxiety required in your life? Is fear required in your No, no, no. Filter. So what is left? Peace inside. That is the power of discernment. What our masters talk about, they use the word viveka. My master used to say vichar, another Hindi word. Well, vichar means I should contemplate, I should reflect on it. So by constant contemplation and reflection, the time comes you live into that awareness, vichar, viveka. So with that viveka or discernment, we understand that this mind is desiring happiness in a person outside, which is not there. Filter. Brother, filter. Ancestor, filter. And daughter, filter. Like neighbor's house, my house. The mind becomes like a mirror. You are already in peace. That is what the clarity is. And it should happen in the mind by knowledge. Desire drops, they dissolve instantly. It moves within, mind moves within, and mind reaches to the state of cheerfulness and the sweet calm, here and now, without any practice. So we have to gradually evolve into that state where we instantly pick up the viveka, we filter out by classifying whatever is left is me, and I'm of the nature of peace and happiness. I believe you are understanding. We are understanding the journey of the life. We want to know how to apply this discernment in daily life. So when we discern, we separate, we clear our confused mind. And oh, my son, you have not done this, and I'm upset. Why you we should be upset with any person outside? Filter. It means separate what I am and what I am not. When we separate in the intellect, we drop what is not me. So when you drop what is not me, instantly you experience the sweet calm within your heart and the state of the cheerfulness. In fact, you have a vigorous smile on your face. I know this is not me. Neighbors, this is me. Filter out, neighbor, filter out, anxiety, filter out. Mind is seeking something outside for the sake of happiness, security, to avoid conflict. No, not possible. Filter out. What is left is. In reality, if we summarize, just see that you approached me. So, the moment you approached me, you are a seeker in becoming. By learning these principles, you become a seeker. Now, what the seeker has to do? Seeker has to understand the knowledge, understand the real self and what is not real self. So, by understanding, by practice, by uh, gaining an experience, you awaken to the real self, which is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Then what happens? That is what we say the freedom and of suffering, sorrow, fear, insecurities, anxiety, duality, conflict. One of the most important thing is self-inquiry. Simple inquiry, where is my house? Maricopa County, Mesa Township, this street and this number. Simple inquiry. Not confused. But the self inquiry has to be done with the discernment. Discernment means separation. Neighbor's house, my house. I gave one example. But why like this? Why not follow the simple inquiry? Because we are confused. The mind is already confused. What is that confusion? Mind at one time says, I am the body when it has a pain in the shoulder. The mind says, I am the mind because it claims I am upset because of son and daughter, brother and sister, or some people. So I'm upset. Upset takes place in the mind. I'm confused what to do. So I become the intellect. But I'm not the body. I am not the breath. I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am the real self, pure consciousness of the nature of peace, happiness, love, wisdom. So there is a confusion, there is a conflict, and this conflict aggravates, or you can say aggravated by the mind. How? I am the body for all practical purposes. But the body has to be born. Whatever is born has to die. So when I am the body has to die. I constantly live in the state of fears, uh, anxiety, and insecurity. But when I am the real self, that is all pervading, that neither takes birth nor dies. Once I reach to that state, problem is gone. So there is a lot of confusion. So that is why this self-inquiry has to be done with power of discernment, filtering out what I am not. So what is left is what I am. That is why all the masters are stressing, laying an importance on the power of discernment, and that power of discernment is always available if I make my intellect available all the time. And if you make this intellect available all the time and you allow the power of discernment to work, you will find the sweet calm and the state of the cheerfulness all the time. And you're already doing the practice, the last practice, and you continue the journey. What will happen? That sweet calm and the cheerfulness will take over at every moment in your life. We are endowed with intellect, and that intellect is endowed with the power of discernment. Provided we make the intellect available to us all the time. It is not available. That is why we are doing other practices. They do the regular practices, the time comes and it will. So, this viveka, power of discernment, separation, second meaning, that what is the second meaning? You can see that once you live into that, the knowledge of the reality dawns into you. And I have been saying, now see the power of discernment. Do you love yourself? Yes, you will definitely say, I love myself. So if you love yourself, love is your nature. See the opposite. Do you love stress? No, and never. So stress is not my nature. Separate it. So we have to separate in the mind. We cannot do it physically. How? By thinking, by reflecting on it. Do you love peace? Yes, peace is my nature. But if peace is my nature, it doesn't live 24 by. That is why we are understanding the journey of the life, so that that peace is available, manifesting, expressing itself all the time. So you see the self-inquiry with the discernment. If peace, happiness, love, and wisdom and existence are my nature, why I do not live in it 24 by 7? We may ask, but it is not 24 by 7. I live in sometime in anxiety, sometime in stress, sometime I enter into the fear and conflict. Why? I already given an answer. Can you recall? Mind is seeking peace and happiness. in an object or a person or an event outside. You told me before that you used to go to the party with your friends and relations, and there they used to gossip. And in gossip, it is the impulsive mind that will act. And if the impulsive and the instinctive and the habitual mind is working, the intellect is not available. So, what is the confusion there? That I'm partying with my own friends for happiness and peace, but result is outcome is anxiety, duality, conflict. So, whether you say it is a confusion, delusion, illusion, wrong notions, they are all the same. They are all the same. So, we have to get rid of these wrong notions through an intellect by discernment. So, after understanding the in simple inquiry and the self inquiry, the self inquiry must be supported by the discernment so that we can filter out. And the moment you filter in the intellect, my friend, sweet calm and the cheerfulness returns. The mind feels it is tied to the people outside, fakely tied like a donkey. Because I'm tied, it will give me happiness. So I stay there continuously, and the life flows. We continue to suffer. Remind yourself of the story of a donkey. Lack of awareness. When I'm in anxiety, duality, conflict, it is just a lack of awareness. Remind yourself and recall. Allow the intellect to be available. And inquire, self inquiry with discernment, filter out, and you are free. Understand by another example. You have to recall these examples and the parables so that your intellect becomes available all the time, and the same intellect separates, filters out what you are not, and ultimately you enter into that state. Take an example. Lamp is there, so that light falls on my face and also in the background. That's why you are able to see me. So when I say switch on the lamp to have a light in the room, is there any confusion or not? A simple statement. No, there seems to be no confusion. Normally we say there is no confusion. But now ask the question. Now, discernment. We ask the question in our mind. Does the lamp have a light? No, lamp does not contain the light. The electricity is hidden behind, that is not seen. So there are two things: lamp that is seen, giving me the light, and the electricity is hidden behind it. Two things. We are removing the confusion. Switch on the lamp to have a light in my room. Electricity is hidden, and the lamp is seen. When I switch on, there is a light. So lamp plus electricity is equal to light. Electricity is hidden. My real self is hidden inside. And it is the mind says that I'm in stress. Nobody loves me. My son is doing a nasty thing. Are you getting it? Electricity is hidden. Mind is illumined. The lamp is illuminated by electricity to have a light. The mind is illuminated by the real self to know the world outside. But when you know the world as it is, you have no problem. But the mind is impulsive, instinctive, then we all have a problem. Then ask yourself, who is responsible for my sorrow and my happiness? I am, because I perceive the world differently. I lost power of discernment. Allow the intellect to work. Use the power of discernment. You have a stress at the first moment. Now there is no more. You see, we can understand. We all are doing, then in this session, we are understanding the discernment, its power of discernment that is present in the intellect. And if the intellect is available all the time, you bring an end to the sorrow and the suffering. So I said separation. When I have understanding and clarity, so I have a separating. I separate what I'm not. I know you, you know me. You are outside me, and I'm outside you. And that knowing part is inside my head. I know you inside my head, but you are outside. Are you separating? You are outside, knowledge is inside. You are outside, experience that you are inside. My experience, my perception, my knowledge about you is inside, still you are outside. I have separated. Like this, everything in the world outside remains outside, but I experience inside my mind. I know David, yes. I know Oksana, yes. I know A, I know B person, yes. Where I know inside, but these people remain outside. Every event remain outside, every object remain outside, the entire world remains outside, but I experience in the mind. Two things I have already separated. And then there is a third. Can you guess? When I say I know you, you are outside, first thing. I experience it in the mind, second thing. The mind experiences. Mind has that knowledge. And the third is I, that real self is behind all the time. Confusion? Whatever the mind says, I trust it, I claim that whatever the mind says, this is what I am. So there is a confusion. There is a confusion between the electricity and the lamp. Switch on the light, switch on the lamp to have a light. Lamp does not contain a light. So it mind, due to craving, desiring, seeking happiness outside, claims mind is what I am, but I'm not the mind. we are not able to separate the mind and its knowledge and its experiences from myself. Whatever the mind says, I become upset, I become reactive, I become impulsive due to the lack of awareness. Remember, lack of awareness, the man drunk sitting in his house asking his wife, beautiful women, take me to my home. Come on, you are already at your look at that level of lack of awareness can be removed simply by allowing the intellect to discern, to separate, to filter out, and live in peace and happiness. You're talking to your son, and the mind wants to be upset. Allow the intellect to be available. What will happen? The sweet calm and the cheerfulness comes in your face and the mind, and then you say, my dear son, can you sit down? Let us talk. Let me see your problem. Explain to me. If I can be any help to you, I will help you. You remain in that state of cheerfulness and calmness. Why? Because you applied Viveka. So you see that now understand in parts. The first understanding is clarity. I already defined understanding and clarity. So the first understanding, the world is outside, separate from me. Second understanding is that the world is outside and I experience that world inside my mind. That experience is known as perception, knowledge, what I feel, what I think. Two things I've separated. Third understanding. Third understanding that knowledge takes place in the mind by thought. Thought. Without thought, I cannot have a knowledge. Clear? Third understanding. And now the fourth understanding. Fourth understanding is I'm taking you to the higher level of understanding the journey of the life. I believe you can easily understand and you can allow the intellect to be available all the time to have all these understanding. So then comes the fourth understanding. We should ask what exactly is a thought? Thought is nothing but object of the world outside plus consciousness plus I am. Did you get it? No thought is possible without an object plus consciousness or plus I. I know you. I know your house. I know you which car you own. I know your relations. I know your son and you see that? I is a common factor. Objects changes. I know you, one object. I know your brother, second object. I know your sister. I know your daughter. So I remains the same and the object keeps changing. So when the object keeps changing, experience keeps changing, knowledge keeps changing. There are millions of objects, there are millions of experiences, but that I remains the same. And that I is the real I. That real I is the pure consciousness. That I is the real self. And that real self is of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, wisdom. Isn't it this knowledge is a magic? What is the magic in it? The magic is there are millions of objects in the world. So, my experiences, my perception, and the knowledge that takes place in the mind are also millions. But what is constant? That I. Electricity is constant. There are millions of uses of that electricity in your smartphone, in your lamp, in your AC, in your washer, in your dryer, in your kitchen, in your oven, in your car. Electricity remains one. The water is one in a bottle, as a wave, as a foam, as a river, as an ocean. It appears hidden, it is not hidden. The real self appears hidden, it is here and now. We are talking of that real self. We are understanding the journey of the life, and our main question today is how to apply discernment with the self inquiry to know my real self. Where is this? Millions of objects outside, so millions of experiences inside the mind. And behind the objects of the world, behind all my experiences taking place in the mind, there lies a real self I that is independent, that is not affected by any object in the world, that is not influenced and dictated by the knowledge and the experiences gained by the mind. I remain totally independent. So once we realize that independent existence within me, that is what meditation is. That is why I said magic happens, that I can be into the state of meditation here and now. Consciousness is one, and only one behind millions of objects, millions of experiences. It never changes. That is independent, never changing, that is independent, is my true nature. That is what I have been talking about. How come you are in meditation? Because you are now, you know there is one real self, one consciousness behind every thought, behind every experience, behind all the objects of the world outside. You are totally settled there, free from fear, anxiety, insecurities. We are understanding the journey of life. The journey of the life means I have to ask a question. When I ask a question from the intellect, means I am concerned why I have anxiety, fears, duality, conflict. So when I start asking these questions, when you approach the Eastern wisdom tells you, yes, you are at the right place because you are asking who you are. But then there is a sense of confusion. I know little bit about myself, but I do not know everything about myself. Am I clear? That is the confusion we have. Whether I'm the body or I'm not, whether I'm the mind or not, whether I'm my experience or not. So if you say you are your experience, it means the lamp has a lamp without electricity is what the lamp is, and still it is giving a light, which is not possible. My experience is different from me. Even after understanding intellectually, we when we start living our life, we lack awareness. How come? That drunkard guy who has taken 5 packs of vodka and asking his wife, sitting in his home and asking, please take me to my home. The same way we ask, what will give me peace and happiness in the world? I have tried everything. Look at my dear friend Bill Gates. $127 billion worth, lived a loveless life for 27 years. That is what he said. So, based on the Eastern wisdom, you laugh at him. You lived a loveless life? Very good. Okay, you accept for a moment. But he is looking for another woman. So, in comparison to one woman, he says that he lived loveless life. What is the guarantee that with another woman he will not live a loveless life? What is the guarantee? And the fact is, what Eastern wisdom says, happiness, love, do not lie outside in an object, whether it is one second, one person or second. It lives within me. Love is my nature. I should discover that love within me. So when I discover that love within me, see that lack of awareness. Self inquiry with discernment makes the intellect available. You filter out, separate, and you say, okay, come on, love is within me. So if we had been a Bill Gates, well, after understanding, you go back to your honey. Honey, I was wrong. I never, I realized that this has nothing to do with the loveless life. It is to do with the ignorance, the lack of awareness of love within me. My master used to say that even you are an extraordinary genius in your profession outside, but when you lose awareness of your real self, you become Bill Gates. And the idea, the mind cherishes that I'm attached, I'm craving. My mind does not listen to me. All these thoughts are like tying and untying of a donkey. Fifth donkey. When the donkey was looking at the washerman and he was tying mentally, there was no rope to a tree. The donkey said that, and the donkey said, now I'm tied, so I cannot go up. But it has also to be untied. Donkey could not stand up because he did not see that he is untied. My master used to say that this tying and untying has to be done in a mind. It does not exist. Because it does not exist, that is why we have a conflict and a confusion. We have a delusion. And that conflict, confusion, and delusion is responsible for my sorrow, suffering, problems in the world. Shanti. Shanti Shanti Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Let everyone be happy. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhave. Let everyone be blessed. Let none suffer from misery in this world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.